Is this thing on? Foobar, Sonobus. I've been messing around with the Sonobus. Let me make sure I got it going. Yeah. Yeah. If you can see me but you don't hear me, let me know. But if you can hear me and you can see me, then I'm very happy to say this is Dwelling of Duels. I'm Evil Sonic. Today we have a very special banner artist breakdown here at Dwelling of Duels, the premier and best DoD. Dwelling of Duels is a monthly video game music contest where participants work on arrangements of video game covers. They record, they produce, and they submit anonymously. For this February, we are doing a composer theme. That's where we choose a composer who's done a pretty nice library of video game soundtracks, and that's the theme, that's the source. Any of their music is eligible. And this month, our composer is Manami Matsume. Very exciting. Only the second woman to have a composer month in DoD's history. And she's got way more to her catalog than Mega Man. And I am including Mega Man 10 in that, because that's just one song. For most, but not all of DoD's existence, each month has gotten its very own banner art. In the early days, we had a few recycled images that got used over and over. There were a few high efforts, a few low efforts. But one of the things that was very exciting is that at a certain point, Nate Horsfell came down from the sky and said, "Let's try harder." And by Joe, we did. We dialed up the high effort banner art to 11, and we've been chugging along ever since. This month's banner artist will be joining me as soon as I remember how to press buttons on a machine. NinekeyArt. And I click the button. Welcome to Dwelling of Duels banner artist breakdown. NinekeyArt. How you doing today? Oh, can you hear me? My audio is cutting in and out. Oh, it shouldn't be. Oh, dip. Oops. That's not great. Let's see here. Is there a reason my audio would be coming out? Barely hear me. Phantom power on. Batman, can you hear me? Good and plenty? Let's see, how's the stream? No dropped frames. The man can hear me loud and clear.
Oh shit.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
I think you're on the webcam mic. So let's see here.
Oh no.
Can you hear me now? Let me turn Foobar down a little bit more. This worked minutes ago. Oh, audio behind the video. Interesting, interesting. Sonobus. Tell me your secrets. Can you try talking a little bit there? Could be lag. I'm not hearing Ninekey. I heard for a minute there. This is weird. Always fun when it's happening live. Okay. Let me think about how you're hearing me. This would be This would be a lot easier if I knew what I was doing. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Hey,
Hello?
I just heard you. I just heard
This is
you,
a problem.
but you can't hear me. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You heard me.
Yeah, let's try that. Disconnect and reconnect. Oh, and make sure that you don't have audio on video. Hi, can you hear me?
Hello?
I just heard you say hello. I just
Hey.
heard you say hello.
At all. I don't know what's going on, I'm sorry.
Do you have audio enabled on video?
Audio enabled.
That should be disabled.
I don't even know where to find that.
Mute the mic. Maybe try turning down
I don't know.
OBS.
I don't think so.
Sorry, OBS host can come down so it's just hearing me.
Classic.
I don't know if that would do it, but maybe.
I hear like snippets of often the beginning or the ending of your sentences.
That could be a very
Yeah. Okay, I have OBS host like pretty much.
Can you hear me now? I bet they were
I think
fighting
I can
each
hear
other
you now.
because Evil Sonic and OBS host hate each other.
Never mind. There you are.
Lost me
There's
again.
two again.
That is weird. I'm not getting any dropped frames on my end. Okay. Trying to think. I don't know. Do you have anything else running in the background that we might?
This might be a latency thing. There's
Let's see. How about
I
now?
don't think so. I have my browser open, Sonobus, and Discord. That's
Okay.
it.
Let's see. Is any of this helping?
The thing does keep calling up the from Europe might be an issue.
I just tried muting something on OBS that might have been taking. I don't know if this is doing anything. We've lost one viewer. Yeah, the pings and the jitter buffer calling in Discord. Oh, then I have to use like desktop audio and that gets wonky. Okay, but no, that doesn't have to go through because our connection is good. It's just that we can't hear each other. So, I'm going to open a call in here so you can hear me and I can hear you. That way. I wrote that way in caps because it was very enthusiastic. All right. Operation, let's try this. Hi, I can hear you.
Hi.
That's good. And
I can hear you too.
The people watching can hear us, and it doesn't sound crazy. We are on... Did you just say that twice, or is there an echo?
Oh. There's an echo. Okay. I heard it twice as well now. But I should probably mute you. Or I should probably mute you on Sonobus, right?
Let's try that. And there's also a question of... Am I just hearing it twice, or is it getting streamed twice? Because those might be two different things. Batman, can you weigh in? Are we duplicating our talks? Stream is fine. Okay.
Oh, that's good. We got there. We might have gotten there.
Let me see. Okay. Alright, so let's barrel ahead. I'm Evil Sonic. With me today is NinekeyArt. And we are here to talk about video games and music and video game music and art and everything in between. Ninekey, our technical difficulties aside, how are you doing on... For me, it's afternoon. For you, it's an evening. How's it in your part of the world?
Good. It's, I just had dinner, so, you know, I'm having that comfortable after-dinner feeling, just sitting. I have a cup of coffee with me.
Very nice.
So,
I just had lunch, so I've got that pleasant after-lunch feeling, and I've got a beer in front of me. I feel like coffee makes more sense earlier in the day and beer makes more sense later in the day for our respective choices, but that's how we do things here at DoD.
Yeah.
There is no rule book. There is no rule. There is just the art, the creation. The drinks. Dwelling of drinks.
Drinks.
So,
yes.
Ninekey, we have a pretty... You've been doing DoD art for a while, and I know you've been playing video games for a while. We've had, I think, some shared experiences in our video game upbringing. And I'll save this one for later, but we also discovered a cool bit of trivia relating to your and my participation in DoD when we were chatting the other day, which I'm excited about.
Right.
But just for starters, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where you're from, what you do, how you art. There's no wrong answers, but tell us the story of the NinekeyArt saga.
Which is a very small other European countries have studied art in Sweden and in Denmark, and
Mhm.
You know, great wide thing, and I spent a lot of my formative years on DeviantArt, and met a lot of artists there. So my best friends were all online. So I think I've always been very.
That's very European.
I definitely had my origins. The first.
Yeah, I think the video game inspiration to art is something that is not uncommon here, unsurprisingly. Oh, I'm getting some messages that you're cutting off here and there. It's so weird because now it's sounding so much better on my end because I can hear you in Discord. Okay. Can you see what microphone source is coming up in Sonobus? Yeah, there's the gear wheel next to Sonobus should bring up your audio device. I don't know why I didn't think to troubleshoot that one earlier when we were having problems.
I thought so.
Okay. And what's the microphone in Discord? That might be an okay.
Yeah, the same one.
Internet, how are we sounding now? The man is typing. Although because I'm in streaming mode, it just says T ... is typing.
Do I? I hope it sounds better because.
So what I'm gonna suggest is in Discord try using a different microphone because maybe if it's a different thing, it won't get
Oh, sure.
Now we're hearing that it's good.
Oh. Okay. If it does become.
Well, if I'm getting your webcam mic in Discord, then I'll be the only one hearing that. And if you've got the good mic going into the stream, then that'll be good.
Oh, it should be my good one in Sonobus.
That is
and
so
my
interesting.
I'm
I'm geeking out a little bit
Discord.
as a sound guy, but I hear the crappy audio first, and then a second later I hear the good audio, and it's cool. So. How does it sound now, Mr. the Man? Mr. the Man. You were talking about growing up in Europe and our history using video games and nerdy stuff as art inspiration. I know some of the first music I learned to do was, video game based, and back when I wrote more myself, I did a lot that was inspired by Tolkien, pulling from that. So it's a big nerdy gumbo soup of pulling from our nerdy little passions, but it's the thing that helps us learn and figure out the fundamentals and make it work. But Um, and you were saying how
Mm.
primarily your work is original art now, and that you have a comic. I know you've done graphic novel stuff. Do you want to tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about your work and how you got there?
Sure. It's quite funny because I feel like I was always drawing things with like a story context, even if it was a singular drawing. It still had speech bubbles. It still had like a setting in mind. Whereas just illustrating character dynamics and stories and stuff. And at first, someone like my school and stuff, I was doing media design, and they tried to get me to do animation. And that very quickly turned out not to be for me because I don't like drawing the same thing in so many frames. I I felt very like frustrated with that, and I noticed that like drawing comics allows me to, you know, with comics we tend to say that everything happens in the gutters. Go from 2, 3 images, and the sequence kind of reads clearly. School in Malmö for 2 years, that's in Sweden. And then I did a follow-up of a bachelor degree in graphic storytelling, so it's very much comics specifically. And yeah, I just love the media, and I think it's very fun to get to tell a story. And I couldn't imagine doing it any other way. So.
I don't remember if we. Okay, so I think the audio's it could be better, but it's coming through. We're gonna keep going. Um, I don't remember if I told you this, but I used
Good.
to do a comic
Good.
with my friends after college. I can't draw, so we took pictures, but it was there's something that's familiar and inviting about that format. What we always did was the same. It was the same 6-panel format. 2 columns, 3 rows of photos, and there was just something. It was fun to have that limitation that you have to tell a story in that many panels. You have to tell a joke. You have to build to the punchline. Because I like doing the funny stuff. Do you? I guess that's another thing. I'm, idiot brain never matured past reading Calvin and Hobbes, so I always think comic equals funny. But obviously, graphic novels are, have a rich, wide, diverse sort of storytelling and genres. What kind of storytelling do you do? I've seen some of your examples, and the man says that's why they're called comics.
Reason the term graphic novel exists is to have a bit of a departure from the comic strip, which is it's very clear that comics are intended as something funny and short, and so I think it's very good that there's now so many different markets. And as for my own work, I tend to feel comfortable within graphic novels because I like to work with history. So alternative history or just straight history, where I like to show things or tell stories within history that maybe aren't told super many times, or get through a thick and so comics allows a lot of other people access to literary works. I have a lot of graphic novels that are interpretations of Dante's Inferno or Don Quixote or other like classic literary works. Phantom of the Opera is on my shelf. And I think that's really cool, and I think I want to do that, and then with history, for example. But I also do more comedy type things. I have some projects related to like tabletop RPG stuff, and that's more comedy and a little bit more lighthearted and stuff. So there's some range, but my favorite thing is history, because I think
Oh yeah.
Be as crazy as humanity. It is essentially
I love
crazy.
That is very
Yeah.
I relate to that a lot.
So
When my friends and I were making our comic very early in that time period, I had an accident on my bike. It doesn't matter why, but I fractured my elbow and I couldn't work for a few weeks. So I was just sort of recuperating. And while I was doing that, I was living in the Boston area, and there was this really cool bookstore nearby, and they had a great remaindered section, so all these really cheap books. And I just picked up, I would go in there and buy things on a whim that I had no intention of reading right away, but I knew if they were around I would get to them eventually. And I picked up a bunch of books about JFK and Richard Nixon and like that particular era of American history, and I just got so hooked. And so in the comic
that's how it always starts.
We did photographs, and it was just me and my roommate living together, and our friends would show up sometime, and we had a lot of stories about how I was getting obsessed with JFK, and I had like an unseemly fascination with Richard Nixon, and and at a certain point, like later, this was afterwards, but when I had another spell where I wasn't working, we had just moved, and I was figuring out what was coming next. I got into the Robert Caro's biographies of Lyndon Johnson, which are like, there are 4 books. I think the shortest one is 300 pages, but they usually average about 800. And I'm like, this is so fucking cool, and I love this stuff. And there is something like history is filled with stories. I mean, it's right there in the word. And I'm also remembering.
Yeah,
I haven't been keeping up with the same comics that I used to, but and this one I think stopped. But have you ever come across Hark a Vagrant? So it was done by.
Does not ring a
I
bell.
think she had a PhD in history, and she's Canadian. And she had like a very particular style, but just absolutely hilarious takes on history and literature. If I had known we were going to be talking about history and comics as much as we are now, I would have prepared a bit better and had like had some examples to put up on the screen. Let me see. Click the random button, see what I get. She had this one arc about mystery-solving teens where these just two shift. This is not the story we're trying to tell here. Okay, so let's get back to you, because this is your banner artist breakdown. We're not here to talk about Kate Beaton and Hark a Vagrant and her delightful takes on rural Canada and 18th century whatevers.
It's probably wise to veer off, because I can talk about this sort of stuff forever.
So the man just said cool mug. Can you show us the mug? Yeah, you just had a sip.
The mug?
I did catch that out of the corner of my...
It's massive too.
That
It's
is how you
I
drink
got
your
it from a
coffee.
Swedish store.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, well. But I have this beautiful mug that has, well, speaking of history again, the history of the space travel on it. It's beautiful. But, yeah, it's packed away safely.
That's so cool. And
for when I move.
before I got my Dwelling of Duels mug from the Threadless store, my go-to coffee mug was, my cousin got it for me as a gift, and it's got all these U.S. politicians, some of who I like, some of who I don't. But the way I held it, I was always looking at Jack and Bobby Kennedy, so I always enjoyed that mug. Talk about the history of space travel.
Ah.
So that's really. Oh, man. We could and someday should talk about history. Speaking of history, how about tell us a little bit more about your
Absolutely.
history? Like I guess you told me a little bit when we were talking the other day about how you got into video games and some of the things you were playing there. Do you want to tell us a bit about what your early gaming experiences were like?
Brothers. One is 3 years older, and the other is 4 years older. And I always kind of mooched off of their video games. We were a big Nintendo family, so I remember one Christmas we got. My mom was open up the Christmas box or like the packaging if she put our names on it. So she put her own name on the box, and then on Christmas she well, and so that was like my entire first experiences. It's funny because afterwards we the three of us veered off into different directions in terms of video games. My oldest brother, he started playing more on the computer. He got very into World of Warcraft, whereas my brother Abba, he got more into like Xbox, Halo, that kind of stuff. And I actually ended up with like a Nintendo DS, so I was kind of stuck with Nintendo. And I knew how to I don't know if I can say this, but I cracked the DS card, so I had basically all the games I could ever want to play because I figured out how to put them on. So I played Pokemon, and I played Professor Layton, and I played all these DS games. But it's all started with like GameCube and Guitar Hero, that kind of stuff. We had a lot of games on it, and of course, Wii Sports was a very big one. Oh, so iconic. The music is amazing. Speaking of music.
I have my, that just reminded me a little bit of my own history of video games. Was I was the oldest child, so when I was a kid growing up and I wanted a Nintendo 64 more than anything, and my parents were like, we'll get it for you for Christmas, but you have to save up for half of it. And I was like, okay. And then a few years later, my sister, so her birthday's in November, and like for her birthday, she got a PlayStation 2, and for Christmas, she got an Xbox. And I was just sitting there like, how come she gets it so easy? Oof. And I had to save up for half of the Nintendo 64. And obviously, this is like 30 years ago, but it still hits hard today. That sibling video game. Yeah.
As the younger sibling,
it's one of those things. They're like,
we
want them to have character.
Honestly,
and they need to work for it, and then at a certain point, it's just whatever. Just do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
So that's and
exactly.
So another chapter of the history, because this is a stream where we talk about the different things, the video games, the music, the art. How did you get your start into art? Like, what was your earliest memories of, putting pen to paper or pencil or brush, and what were some of your early, like, when did art take hold?
Mm-hmm. It's funny because you can trace it back to a very, very, very young age. I didn't become deliberate about being an artist until our education system are very around, I think, 12, no, older, 14, 15, somewhere there. That's when I was like, okay, I need to do art because I want to be an artist. Until then, I think I mainly just drew it because I really enjoyed it. And the thing about if you draw a lot of art is the thing that, like, as a young kid, is you become like the cool kid in the class that can draw, which that becomes your whole identity pretty quick. And that was the case for me. And then you go to art school, and all of a sudden you're not special anymore. Suddenly everyone can draw. And that's when you kind of also start... And that's when I pretty quickly ended up in comics again. Because that's just what I like doing the most. But I remember doing this whole comic about, like, Milotic, which is this Pokemon. Finding, like, a tiara. I was really young. Finding, like... And I remember doing, especially Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, I thought the Link from Ocarina of Time was really cool, so I drew him a lot. And I think that kind of kept the fun alive that then later turned into, oh, actually, maybe I want to do this as a job. So it's funny. It starts off with amusement and just fun and being like, oh, that's the thing I do because that makes me cool because I can do it a little bit better. But yeah, later on it just became me wanting to choose a career and realizing art makes me happy.
So
yeah.
You just said two things that got me thinking about where I am right now with video games and where I was when I was younger with video games. Right now, I've been playing Pokemon Legends ZA, and I just, like, in the past day or two, got a Freebus, which I know evolves into Melodic. So that's really cool. And I just got a Freebus, and I have to, like, figure out how to get it to evolve, which is a whole thing. But it's also, like, I grew up playing the first generation, and I will often say, in my day there were only 151 Pokemon, and we liked it. And my friends, just to tell you how old me and my friends
Old-timer,
are.
yeah.
My friend Brienne, who records under the name Atomic in DoD, she introduced me to DoD. When she was in middle school, she was reading a Nintendo Power, and there was, like, in, like, a single paragraph at like, just, like, a very nothing story, it was saying how there was this new game in Japan called Pocket Monsters, and it did a single 1 or 2 paragraph description, and she read that, and I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And she told her friends who, I wasn't living in that town yet, so I didn't know them yet, but she was like, hey, check this out. And so when it came to the US, they were, like, first ones there at the GameStop to buy it the day it came out. And then, like, 3 months later, it was everywhere. Yeah. Pokemon is a good one. And I mean, the other thing you said was about how, like, Link from Ocarina of Time was really cool, and I identified with Link so much. I think I told you this the other day, but like I got that game when I was 11, which is how old Link was at the beginning. And I started playing it, and I got stuck inside Jabu Jabu's belly, and it was so frustrating,
Right.
and I couldn't even figure it out. And I was like, okay, nuts to this. I'm going to play baseball games. And so I got like Mike Piazza's Strike Zone, and that's all I did. And then years went by, and when I was in college, I picked the game up again. And at that time, I was 18, which is how old Link is after he, finds the Master Sword. And then I finished and beat the game. So I was like, okay, I am literally Link. And so there were two things that happened the day I beat Ocarina of Time. The first is that I had ordered an Ocarina of Time t-shirt off the internet. And this was back in 2005, before we had like good print to t-shirt services. So it was one of those like press-on things that like it, the second you put it in the washing machine, it's destroyed. And before we had tracking, so I'm sure I had ordered it like 2 months before, and it just happened to show up that day. So that was the first thing. I was like, oh, it's a sign. This is the day I'm going to beat it. And the second thing that happened was I'm playing the game. I get to the final boss. I'm not going to worry about spoilers because this game came out almost 30 years ago. If you don't know how a Zelda game ends and it involves beating Ganondorf, I can't do anything for you.
Honestly.
But I like Princess Zelda's like doing the magic to keep him in place, and like the screen is showing like her doing the yellow thing, and the screen's holding there. I'm like, this is going on for a while. And it had frozen. It froze, and so I had to turn it off and restart it. And when I restarted it, I was at the bottom of the tower, and I had to go do it all again. And I was like, this is the worst day of my life. So, for anyone who's just joining us, obviously, this is a Banner Artist Breakdown. We are talking with NinekeyArt, and not Evil Sonic relives his childhood traumas of video games. And the man PF had an excellent question. I think you kind of answered this, but in the chat, the man asked, when did you evolve from 9key to NinekeyArt? Which was that, did you have the art stone, or did you have to level up, or was it through trade? Like, how'd you get there?
I think I reached my final Ultima form when I finally accepted the fact that comics was the one I wanted to do specifically, and when I went to study specifically comics, because I did media design college, like I said. Similar, I think, to what is it called in America? I think it's like a community. More designed to be like a very practical art trade, like a graphic designer, or it's someone who can work in an animation production or something. And I didn't want to do any of that, so I chose one of the art fields that does not pay the bills, but that drives on pure passion. And I haven't looked back, so I think that's the moment I reached my Ultima form.
So we have some of your art that we can do a slideshow for. I've got two slideshows. I don't know if you have a preference for which one to start with. There's one of the DoD banners you've done, and some of the other art that you've done. Do you want do you have a preference for which one we take a look at first?
Mm-hmm. Maybe my own work, and then afterwards we can
So
just
let me,
let the banners roll until.
So I'm turning off the
till the
background
end, kind of,
art
maybe.
because it gets confusing with the
Mhm.
slideshow. And I'm going to the slideshow, portfolio, and where is it? There we go. So if you're watching along with the stream, there we go. It's coming up now. So who are these fellows?
Hey, Team Fortress 2! Ah, my beloved video game. These. No, not medic I've changed, but my loadouts basically. So, they have like my unusual hats, which are like bizarrely expensive hats for no reason other than. I got into this video anime type of stuff. And then I got into a video game where all the protagonists are like middle-aged men.
So, I know this isn't what's going on, but
And I did.
when I look at this, my first thought is that the medic, it reminds me of a Ghostbuster. It's just that shade of the coat and the fact that there's stuff on the back. I swear it's Egon, but it's not.
Yeah. I don't know if you know what his medigun looks like, but it's literally like the sort of. It's also this sort of big stick, essentially, that is attached to it. And.
Oh. Oh, did I lose you? Oh, no, there you go. The audio had a very quick cut for a second, and I was worried that I lost you entirely. But I don't think that's the case. So, yeah, Ghostbusters was huge. That was like the first thing I was into as a kid. I had Ghostbuster sheets. I was a Ghostbuster for many Halloweens. So I mentioned my sister was born in November. That was when her birthday was. That year, when my mom was very, very pregnant, she was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And for Halloween. And so yeah, Ghostbusters looms large. And I don't want to give short shrift to the guy in blue. That's the sniper. They both have birds.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so fun thing about Team Fortress 2 is there's a lot of birds. That the medic has is Archimedes, and that's a very known Team Fortress character, but a lot of the characters have bird cosmetics, and the sniper has an owl because of obvious reasons. Has an eagle. As a true American patriot, he has an eagle. So this is
Benjamin
different bird
Franklin
cosmetics, and I quite like those, so I included them.
Turkey.
Yeah.
And they disagreed, and they made it a bald eagle. But what would this country be like if we had a turkey instead of a bald eagle as our?
I think
well, maybe they would have named their country Eagle instead. Yeah. Erdogan,
that would be
let's
cool.
get on that, you know? Is it Erdogan or Erdogan? I know he looks like Gollum. I forget. Obviously, we're talking about video game music and art with NinekeyArt, and Next up, I think this is some history of spaceflight.
Oh, yeah. Yes. These are my main characters of my... I tend to joke that this is like my magnum opus. This is a story I've had for many years. In essence, my entire hyperfixation on especially the Soviet space program. I'm very deep into that history, and these are my two main characters.
So, I just had another thought that I can't believe I didn't have sooner, but here we are talking about astronaut and the history of spaceflight and graphic novels, and here we are living through the end of the world. Have you seen the show or read the book Station 11? Okay. No, that's fine. It's so it was a book, and they made it into an HBO limited series, so it's a single season. But it is it's so weird to experience now, but it came out years ago, but it was taking place in the year 2020, and a flu hit and like wipes out most of the population. And so part of the story is taking place in those early days, and part of it's taking place 20 years later when most of society is gone and it's all just like living in the post-apocalyptic. And it follows a troupe of actors who travel, through America but at the center of this story was a graphic novel that one of the characters had done called Station 11, and it's about an astronaut on a space station. It's super deep. It's one of those things that hit me really hard when I first experienced it, because I was still dealing with like COVID trauma, and it's just so weird. But there is a lot of, it's a graphic novel about, there is this graphic novel about a space station, an astronaut, and it hits hard, it hits deep. It's on HBO, and here we are shilling. This is where Evil Sonic shills for Warner Discovery properties. Not actually, but it's a really good show. The first episode can be hard to watch if you're still dealing with COVID trauma, because it's like the first day when this pandemic hits and everyone's pandemicking. But I like this. This is much more fun than what came to my mind, and I can tell they're having a good time. And you said this is your magnum opus. Is this so? It's still in the works, and you have not yet released this?
Like oftentimes other comics might take priority, which is the case for me right now. I have two other projects that take the priority right now, and
oh wow,
500 to 1,000 pages. Here's my gargantuan story that I will one day get to, but I think my main intention is to get a big history graphic novel under the belt first, which is the one I'm working on now, and then I will get to this one when I've kind of cleared the path, and I've also story justice. I think is my main. The focus, people expect it to be like a very epic space story, but It's almost more like those very old-time space stories where it's much more about humanity and psychology, which it is. That experience is the story more so than the space setting,
And
essentially.
that,
But I do go very geeky
that
into the
reminds
space history
me,
and stuff.
some of
whenever
my
I
favorite
can.
stories are... I think the greatest distillation of it is Jaws, where there are three people who are stuck on this boat, and they're just bouncing. It's the personalities and the challenge, and like there's just something so compelling about being stuck in this confined space, having to do this thing. And the other movie that I think about so much in the same way, completely different, but Good Night and Good Luck. So it's that's all taking place in a 1950s TV news studio of CBS, where they're dealing with, and it's just it's all taking place in that confined space. It's something there's something theatrical about it, where it's all about these stories and the dialogue and the interactions and the setting.
Character driven.
So that's very cool. And I mean,
for sure.
One of the other ones, I haven't watched this in a while. I have no idea if I'll enjoy it as much, but I'm just thinking about Gravity, which came out, I guess, like 12, 13 years ago, and that was the one with Sandra Bullock on the space station where there's an accident, and it's all presented as a single shot, a single continuous shot in real time. But it's also very claustrophobic, and I gotta watch that again.
If I can throw out a recommendation that I really loved in recent times, there's this, I think it's on Netflix, at least it Adam Sandler, which is not it's very unexpected to see Adam Sandler there, but it's a very dramatic movie. It's very slow paced, and it's Adam Sandler basically on a spaceship on a mission that it takes him very, 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 very far away. But without spoiling what the story is about, the story is not about the mission. It is about him, and especially his relationship also with his wife, and it was phenomenal. I loved that movie. It also really helped that I think he's supposed to be from like Slovakia.
Oh, that sounds cool.
It's also such a classic Soviet-style spaceship that also made me geek out quite a lot. It's beautiful. It's the... and you can tell they referenced a lot of the actual vessels.
Yeah. I
catch everything again from the beginning, so that I would remember.
Yeah. I kind of remember hearing about that, and I mean, honestly, ever since I saw Uncut Gems, as like, Adam Sandler, you've got more range than people give you credit for. So like I'll check that one out.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
And on the subject of space travel and everything, like The Martian, that's almost goes without saying. But then also Moon, that's such a good movie. Have you seen that one? It's got Sam Rockwell. Kevin Spacey does a voice, which is good that we don't have to see him. Because he's terrible now, but it's really good. It's one of those
don't know if
I feel like just in the past,
maybe look at this.
Maybe not even recently. In this era, like just before and like partially into the Marvel Cinematic Universe boom, we had a really nice decade and a half or so of independent, like sort of small sci-fi movies. And that is definitely one of them. I don't want to talk too much about it so that I can avoid spoiling anything, but that's a good one. And
Okay. Duly noted. And also in terms of like confined space, have you seen
I've heard about it.
what's the Iron Lung? The movie that Markiplier put out. Yeah. It was really interesting. It was a really cool movie. It does a lot of things that I think as a storyteller.
Yeah.
Too weird.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that he leaves some stuff up for interpretation. That's really cool.
Tell us everything
so
that we can find out for ourselves. That's part of what art is letting people take from it what they will. Anything else that you want to say about this image before we look to the next one?
Yeah, very much so.
Oh, about feet.
Truce. Yes. The feet question. So it was a choice, not so much based on because I actually think drawing feet is more satisfying than drawing socks, because socks are kind of these ambiguous shapes and it can look wrong very easily. But in this case, I decided to give them socks mainly because it felt really weird to have them like fly around in a spaceship with bare feet. It just felt very odd. So that's why
that makes sense to me. Like if having never been in a space station, if I were, it seems like, why would I bother putting on shoes? It's not like I'm going out anywhere. And it feels weird to go barefoot when you're in space, because it's like, yeah, I'm sure that it's insulated, but you have to imagine it's kind of cold. So you got to have something on there, but you don't want to make it a big thing. So socks kind of makes perfect sense. It's like you save the shoes for if you're doing the moonwalk or what, the spacewalk. But if you're just in the station, just socks is fine. Take off the shoes when you get back in.
It's also yeah. The flight suits, I think they're called, that they're wearing right now are also the thing that they often wear they wear these underneath actual spacesuits. And part of the spacesuits are the boots. So this is kind of, I based a lot of this on actual history and actual photos. And so they wouldn't have shoes on because shoes are have these suits on underneath, and they take off the spacesuit when they are in the station.
Living in New England in the winter,
generally at least,
and I had to clear the driveway this morning. I put on the sweatshirt and the coat, and that makes sense when it's as cold as it is. But I'm out there for a few minutes. I'm like, this is exhausting. I'm wearing way too much. So like, if you're in space and you're doing your things, you're doing the tests, you don't want to be uncomfortable. So yeah, I get that. This next image, can I zoom in? Let's see. I'm gonna do my best to zoom in and highlight, because this is a full page. So let's see. Waiting for Twitch to catch up, but I've got the first like third of the page up there. So what can you tell us a little bit about this work? Like, what's this from, and what are we seeing? What's going? I mean, I love it.
Yeah, so thank you. This is a comic based on my actual D&D campaign with my friends. Where basically we have this very we don't know what to make of him yet, but this very he owns a inn called the Joyful Inn, and you can sleep there for free. You only have to pay with like a joke per evening. And so we've done that because our party is pretty broke, but it's also horrible because getting more and more popular, which is really cool. I'm part of the editorial team. Related content into these zines, so it's sometimes it's just an illustration. It's all based on like, you know, tabletop roleplay. And I pitched this one when I wanted to partake with the 4-page comic, and now, like I said, I'm part of the editorial team, so I'm helping other people. Because it's, you know, based on your own campaign, so you're still laughing as you draw, you're still cracking up. So, oh yeah, here he, instead of talking to us, he like had a note, a crumpled up piece of paper appear in like my warlock's pocket. Which...
That's really cool. And what was the name? You said Not a Mimic? Do you have a link to that you'd like to share? And we're getting more people. Some people from the United States, so we're also looking into like logistics of having more people. And I've got that pinned. That'll be pinned for the next 20 minutes. There are some other links of viewers that I want to make sure we get pinned in there, but every so often I remember that Twitch is this platform where there are things that we do, like
sure, thank you.
Share links and pin stuff, and it's interactive. And it's not just me talking with somebody. There's other stuff happening too. So the next image in this slideshow, this is another page. Oh, I gotta transition that and make it. So give it a second. I've got the full view coming in just a second. There we go.
Yeah, this is actually coincidentally another Dungeons and Dragons base. Adventure story between now. Because
That's so cool. And I love the theme of space, and
it's for me.
just keeps coming up, and I like that. There's something cool about that.
Oh yeah, now that you mention
Right.
it,
So next up, I'm gonna show the DoD portfolio. Anything else that you want to say before we take a look at the next slideshow? I love them. They're cool stuff. So
no, that's
the first one, I remember that this was a very fun month, and let me. I think this was the very first month that my wife Andromeda submitted a solo entry, and she and I came within one place. Like, I came in, I think, 9th, and she came in 10th, and we were like neck and neck. So that was really cool to see her. But I love the Bohemian Rhapsody style, and it's got the Wii. Like, it's fitting that you did this one because Wii Sports was such a big thing growing up. Did you have references in my? Are they meant to be Queen as Wii characters, or nobody? I don't see Freddie Mercury in there. There's no mustache.
yes. I know. Well, I did follow the kind of the style that they had appearance-wise with the cover, which he did not have his iconic mustache at the time. I think my brother, so back in the Netherlands, and so I had to come up. I thought that was kind of difficult, so what I ended up doing is, I believe I took my my Switch, which I did have, and there's like a way for you to create, like, for your profile picture, you can create a me.
Yeah.
On the Wii, so you could look at all the different Miis and stuff, but there's nothing like that on the Switch as far as I know. So what I had to do is individually basically make these Miis. So I had a bunch of like Queen Miis on my Switch that I was never gonna use after this, but I couldn't do this just by myself. I had to
And I love
create them in order to
smile.
draw them, because
Like
otherwise
that,
it was gonna get way too
I remember
difficult.
that was the one of the options. And this was the first Dwelling at Duels banner you did. And I remember there was a period where Austin Katajan was really... He was proactive about reaching out to artists and finding people, and I think that's how you crossed paths with DoD, was that Austin reached out and invited you to do a poster. Is that right? Oh,
I think at first he...
it was point and click month.
And... Oh, point and click, right. Yeah. And I remember telling him, like, I would love to do this, but I have never played a point and click game. And it feels very silly for me to draw a banner for a game genre I've never touched. I feel like someone else could do it justice. And then we talked... familiar with the Wii. I would love to do this. So I also think it was really fun that I got to do a theme that actually really meant something to me.
Austin ended up doing the point
for the first one
banner,
and I'm still really happy about that.
It's pretty cool, and he inserted himself into it, where it's like he's in a music store, and he can open, pick up, eat, close, talk, give, dwell, use, or duel.
Ah.
And duel is selected. And in his inventory, he has a tape cassette, headphones, a guitar pick, and some sheet music.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool. I mean, I knew he did that banner, but that's so interesting. Like just hearing the history of that and the story behind the art. Now this next one that's coming up is very special for me, because this was the first time that I won DoD, and I never thought I would, like, because I participated back when I was in college, like back in 2005. I had entries, and the joke was I was never going to get higher than 17th. The man said it was Nico Crocodile. For some reason, I thought Austin did the art. I am correcting myself. Neko Crocodile, but he does appear in the banner. For some reason, I thought he did that, but
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you, the man, for correcting my faulty history. But yeah, this is the Maxis month. Very cool banner art. I kind of want to. We've been doing this thing where we're getting the banner arts up on the DoD Threadless store. Do you have if you have a Threadless account, we can put that up there and link it so that all the proceeds go to you. But I really want a poster of this because this was my gold medal. Like this was I never thought I was gonna win, and I had an arrangement. I didn't do the mix. I only played bass, and it was a very simple bass line. So there are so many other people that I want to give credit for the success, but I will never look at this picture and not smile because it means a lot to me. So do you want to tell us a little? I mean, I kind of get I get what you're going for here with you've got a sim character. Like, I mean, you know, they've got the diamond on the head, and you know that's the sim you control, and I see the Sim City in the background. Oh, that's so cool. Is that from Sim Ant?
Creatures?
Or Sim Sport? Or what was...
this banner. Spore was like, I think I only had it on my DS for a little bit. It never really caught on with me. Do really create really freaky creatures. But I have a friend who was really, really fond of that game. And I think knowing that these are way that wasn't gonna overwhelm. And of course the Sims had to take front stage because I mean, The Sims is gargantuan name in games. So, and the sim itself. Because I guess as an artist, I always enjoy it tracks with the whole history thing. I like doing it in a way where if you play Sims, you can recognize the hairstyle. Like it looks good as it is, but if you are a fan of The Sims, you would recognize that I gave her stuff that she actually can have in The Sims, which that's really fun for me. Like,
Yeah. That it's so cool, and I know I'm biased, but I think it's really cool. This next one is also very special to me, and that I have a fond association with, because this is the second month that I got a medal for in DoD, and this time it was not my arrangement. It was the man PF's arrangement. And I played acoustic guitar and I did the mix. Because I remember he was talking about how he had an idea for a track, but his computer was fighting him every step of the way. And he wasn't going to do it because he wasn't going to be able to mix it. And I was like, dude, let me mix it. Let's make this happen. And so... Wild West month. This is such a cool, like, this was such a cool month. The banner is perfect for it. And one of the things that's just that on the music side, what happened this month was that everyone got the memo, and all the music was kind of. It's one of those things where usually when there's a DoD theme, you get lots of different styles and vibes and feels. But like every track that month felt like a Western. It wasn't just enough that we used Western sources, except Wake. I knew there was one, but the music that everyone made was so Western stylized, except for Wake. He was, wild, wild Wake over there. But do you have can you tell us a little bit about the process here and what some of the elements, like where those come from?
So I think I remember one of the first things I decided, I drew like a little thumbnail, and I think I had a couple of different things, but this sort of, I think it's called a Mexican standoff, right? This sort of two guys facing each other. I thought that was such the thing, and then I was still a little bit unsure, but for some reason I ended up with this very specific color palette, which is a very limited one. And the moment that the colors were in, I knew, I'm happy. I have. That's the reason I like it a lot as well, is that I think this is maybe also the first was like, I want to add like a sort of thing that doesn't just make it straight like a Wild West cover. So
yeah.
competition, and then you have this
Yeah. And I mean, I know. So a lot of DoD's origins were U.S. based, but also like over the years, it's certainly gotten very international. And I think there were a few years. This would have been not quite, like somewhere between like, maybe around 10, 12 years ago is when Strifig was the one running things, and he was in at the time Russia. I think he's out of there at this point, but yeah, it's very cool to see like a non-American tackle the quintessential. I've been watching a bunch of westerns lately, and I've been thinking about how it's not strictly American, but it is a very American kind of thing. Like that setting, that style. And it is like like you said, the standoff there is really cool because that is a duel.
Yeah.
And that's what we do here. So that's Pistols at Dawn, or High Noon, whichever one you want to call it. Very cool stuff. And this next one is also really cool. I have a fondness for, and give that just a second before it pops up on the screen here. And this was the Brevity Month where I got a bronze medal.
I love how I forget which ones I've done.
I did much less than I did the other months. I just played bass on a track for Minus World and a few others, and so yeah, if anyone has been keeping track, when Ninekey does DoD banners, I have a 75% medal rate. I have only gotten medals when Ninekey has done the banner. So it is at this time that I'm very proud to announce Ninekey is the official resident DoD banner artist. We'll do every month so I can win every time. And that's the big reveal for today. But I mean, I love
Hell
this.
Yeah.
So this banner is really cool because to me, it kind of signifies like this whole DoD has had a very long history of being very, very guitar based, and in the past few years that has really shifted, and we've gotten artists of all different styles and instruments. So to have just a single solo saxophonist in there, that's pretty cool. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration or the like what you used as a model, or Oh, that's cool. Oh, nice.
I bought a saxophone myself. It's always been my dream to learn how to play the saxophone. I have not yet started actually learning how to play one because, mainly because I had not really the access funds to pay for lessons, which I do think, at least initially, I need to probably take actual lessons and. Had a lot of fun with this because it is actually as a theme to visual. That kind of felt like almost like a finger snap moment of seeing something. And so I think I therefore ended up being like, okay, well, I need something that just kind of feels, like I said, like a snapshot moment. And as I had drawn the figure, I realized I didn't need much else. So the colors, I changing the purple and the green a little bit, and then I painted over that again to make it even more so. So you had these two different colors going on, and I'm still really happy with how that looks. Sometimes when I draw, you just kind of go along with it and you just kind of see where you end up. And with this one, that was a very happy little accident and a good process, because a lot of stuff
Yeah. I think, and it's very cool. It's very stylized. I love the colors in this. And the last but not least, we've got this month's banner, which was, it's so cool. Twitch, catch up with us. There it is. And I remember seeing like the one of the early drafts the man shared with it that when it was in progress, and it's just like, this is gonna be so great. I love it. And so yeah, I can tell there are a number of elements. Do you want to just walk us through what we're like? It's always kind of special when it's a composer month, because it is more than anything else. It is highlighting an individual in a way that does, you know, it's special, and it's not the sort of thing that will come up when we do like a game genre or a studio. It is a person, and it's sort of celebrating their contributions and them, and it's something that is always very special to see. So I would love to hear, you know, the process that you went through, like what you drew upon for inspiration, how you just what do you want to tell us about this art?
Yeah. I had a lot of fun with this, which I think you can tell. I love she's Japanese, but also she has worked with a lot of Capcom games. Composed by women specifically, and they also had and so I think that's sort of that family. Some of them were like horse simulators, while others were like arcade games, and then others were like really big names like so I ended up thinking, okay, well, a lot of these have pretty recognizable looked. This sort of elegant woman then being gathered, like being circled with these sort of weapons, like like the frame and the composition, and these
It's so cool. And I mean, it's just so simple and so bold, and but it's not simple. It's very like it's at glance. It's just like the stark contrasts. It's really, oh man, like when you look at this quickly, it jumps out at you, and then when you dig in and you just focus on it in detail, it's still got so much cool stuff happening. Oh god, I love this stuff. It's so much fun to look at and to talk about. And oh man, don't you just love video games? I love this shit. So we've been talking for a while. Let me switch back. We're gonna put our two cams on. You're gonna see Ninekey and Evil Sonic. And we're still here. This has been so much fun. I know, like, the technical difficulties notwithstanding, hopefully everything's coming through in the recording, and that'll sound good if there've been issues while watching. But oh man, I just have so much fun. I could do this all day, but it's also one of those things. I know it's getting late over there. There are things people doing but anything else that you want to talk about today while you're with us, whether it's about art or history or video games or that lovely combination of all three? We could talk about the art in Assassin's Creed, because that's got history and it's a video game, so it makes sense to me. It's logical.
Where people just love the project, like the just a stepping stone for people to try stuff. I know I've tried stuff with these banners that I felt like I was free to.
Yeah. It's... Oh, well, I mean, it was great having you here. And I mean, the way I always... It's one of the things that I always sort of struggle with a little bit when talking about Dueling of Duels, because it is a contest, because we vote on it and there, someone comes in first and second and there's rankings. But I really like the part of it that makes it special isn't really about the contest. It's kind of like a workshop is the way I like to look at it, where people are trying these things, they make mistakes, they learn from it. The things are, I feel like Dueling of Duels is at its best when people swing for the fences and try big ideas and make mistakes and then talk it through and get feedback and learn some. I can think some of my favorite months of DoD are when I did tracks that placed really poorly, but in the discussion I I learned something, and it is a process. It's a creative process. A lot of times we think about this stuff as being very technical driven and scientific, but it's an art. There's a creativity behind every step of the way. I'm just so glad that we're able to provide a place, and that this, I still can't believe this thing's still going. It started back in 2003 when somebody on a message board said they were better at guitar than other people, and they're like, let's have a contest just to shut this guy up, and and they just kept doing it. So one of the other questions we've talked a lot about the different games you played growing up, the things that I sort of have a thought about what I would like to see when I'm thinking about this question. But do you have what's the sort of thing that you would love to do, whether it's for the next time you do a DoD banner, whether it's like a character or a style or a scene, like what would you love to do next time? And there's going to be a next time. You're on our list. Oh.
Thank you. I mean, if you guys ever have a Valve or a Team Fortress competition and you don't call me, I'm going to call.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of
very
also
poorly
Left 4
kept
Dead
secret.
and
Portal 2 is one of my absolute
Portal
favorite
and
games.
stuff. So it would be really that would be a fun
I've
prompt.
It like 3 or 4 times in DoD for mains and alts, and it's just one of those games that I'll pick up and play. Like, I just love that game so much. It's so funny. I love puzzle games. I love the humor of it. Cave Johnson, just it's so much fun. Valve would be a good one. I always love the studio themes when it's like a studio or a publisher, because it gets it has the ability. A lot of the times there's stuff that you can choose from, really retro stuff where you've got a bare bones arrangement and you really flesh it out, or there's something more modern, and it gets like a whole wide range of styles. So that's always fun. And yeah, so I found some of the links to the webcomic I was telling you about. I also want to talk to you about the threadless stuff, because even if I'm the only one who gets it, I would love to see some of your posters on the store. And very important for DoD, this is the thing that we put front and center, is that we support artists.
For sure,
real work, and giving people a place to share their work, to be supported, through the fruits of their labor. Like that's the coolest stuff. I feel like that is a huge dream for a lot of people here, is that, I ended up working in finance. At one point I was going to be a musician or a music teacher, and this, that, and the other. I took a different path. I don't begrudge it. I love what I do, but it's still, I love that we live in a world where people can support themselves and live on making beautiful things, and sometimes, not beautiful, but thought-provoking. But that's its own kind of beauty. Beauty, truth, beauty.
Yeah. Absolutely. I also just, like, as someone who's had to unfortunately compete, which is already annoying to say, compete with AI, it's also, to me, it means a lot that that's clearly a stance you guys take as well, where it's like, no, we hire an artist. Because, there's just a lot of fun potential, also more entry jobs and stuff that have gotten, like, that have completely vanished because of the influx of ChatGPT and other, like, generators. And it's frustrating because, especially when also maybe it's used for idea generation and stuff like that, which I don't understand really, because surely the creative part is the, like, why are we outsourcing the fun things? And also the creative visions, right? Like, it's just, so it means a lot that that's not something that we agree
Exactly.
that it's about art, it's about community, it's about fun, and it's about like sharing passion, and that's not something a robot or a line of code can do.
When you were going through school and like you got to that point where you were in art school and there, you weren't the only one making art, and you had to figure out what is the thing that is yours and what is your art, and that is right front and center about that question about human-made art, AI art, and it is just so important, like, because we could see a world where it's just getting churned out to be filler, but then the thing that is going to rise, none of this stuff happens in a vacuum, and if we start seeing more of that, we're also going to see the human artists do the things that no one but them can do. Like if you're hiring a musician or an actor or an artist, you are asking them to do the thing that they do, and not to imitate or to make your thing and to be yourself and do that. And it's
yeah exactly. It's really telling that the attitude towards artists has shifted a bit, at least not of course with everyone, but a lot of people who maybe are neutral or positive about AI, when they do engage with artists, you can tell that the general consensus is now all of a sudden that it's about the product, the end result. And I think most artists or most creatives in general will tell you that that's more a result of the process than it is the point. The point is not the end result. The point is to have fun with an idea, and like we talked about a lot of the process and the ideas that I had with a lot of these banner concepts and the themes. And what would a robot do with a brevity? Maybe make something that looks visually good, but it's it doesn't convey the feeling, and it doesn't have the sort of human mind behind it that went, okay, what do I do with this? What does this mean to me? And how do I convey that? And I think it's just frustrating that it's become that you get compared to things that don't have emotion or intention, that can spew out something that looks on the surface good, and then
I think
you have to compete with that, whereas you offer something entirely different, essentially. You offer so much more.
A big movie studio goes all in on AI, and like it's terrifying for all of us real people at first, but then they make the thing that nobody wants to because when you think about, like, the thing AI is good at is going to be making elevator music or motel art, or like, it's just filler. It's not the thing you want to look at. So it's, when they sink $1 billion into a movie that a robot made and no one shows up,
filler.
Artists are going to be in a place where they can say, we told you fuckers, now pay us. So like, Yep. And I think, honestly,
Disney, I know they're a massive company, but they are certainly speed running this strategy. They are investing in AI in a way that I'm like, I can't wait to see this backfire, and I hope it will in spectacular ways because they deserve it at this point.
A great artist, like,
honestly,
Walt Disney must be spinning in his grave over this, you know. So this has been so much fun. Before we close out, any other last thoughts? Anything?
I think
can
so.
you share, or let me. Yeah. This is the thing. I should have put it up there in the beginning, but I've got your links. Where is it? I've got this in announcements. Let's copy that link. So at the very least, this is in the Twitch stream. It's an and we always save the chat. And I know.
Oh yeah, my website.
That Instagram. We got those there. And yeah, anything else you want to tell us before we close out today's stream? I'll do the little, you know, the DoD contest. We've got our submission deadline is Thursday, the 26th. The listening party is going to be Friday, the 27th. And we'll have results either Sunday night or Monday morning. So March 1st or 2nd. Those are Eastern times. If you're a patron, you'll know next month's theme a little bit early. All right, the man, I need to check in with you about. I know who's doing next month's art. God, we have so many great artists around this place. It's so exciting. It's so much fun. But yeah, any last closing thoughts? Favorite games? What are you playing lately? Anything like that?
I will be honest. I have been sucked back into Overwatch really, really dramatically. The Jetpack Cat is crazy, and Blizzard has been doing a good job, nice. Which is not a sentence I was expecting to say. But Overwatch and Final Fantasy Online has also had a grip on me. So I've been active on the PC mainly.
And actually, on that note, we had Animal Crossing on my Switch. Jackie and I each got our own Switch 2 recently, and she was the one who really designed the island, so I just transferred the island over to her today, and I realized, that means I can start from scratch. I've never made this island before. I just came in after she had developed it. So this morning I started my own island in Animal Crossing, and I have no storage yet. There are all these. I can't cross the river, but that's what I'm going to be doing this afternoon is playing some Animal Crossing.
Hell yeah.
Thinking about video games and music and art and all these lovely lines of creation. Ninekey, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. And yeah, I love this month's
Sounds
art.
Wonderful.
We'll be talking and chatting, and everyone, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
If you're watching now or if you're watching the VOD later, you're in the future from me, so that's cool. And keep it right here. This has been Dwelling of Duels.